It's always humbling, I think, for me to stand in front of so many illustrious people, institutions and actors with a track record of delivering some very concrete results.
Today's meeting brought together people who've been working around issues on data for sustainable development. We had participants from government, from civil society, from academia. And we spent a day looking at how to move conversations that had been happening over the last year on data communities to a practical level where things actually get done.
And today was a great day bringing together partners from government, civil society, academia, and research to really talk about the action that's been had in 2015 and the way looking forward in 2016. I was really excited to hear about the engagement from county governments and the work that needs to be done in terms of capacity building and using data for action.
And the key question is, we are talking about data. How do we get this data? As the PS of the county, how do you ensure that you have facts when you are formulating and making decisions? We could start with it.
As a county, we were at the lowest that could be. For 50 years after independence, all our departments were at 0 levels. So you can imagine when you are struggling with food insecurity, you are struggling with water, you are struggling with security, you are struggling with all these things, and you want to focus. Now, how do you prioritize? Where do you start first? So the little thing, the data that was already on the ground before the government, is what we used to come up with. We say for these 5 first years, our focus will be on water, on education, and on health. The rest can take backseat. An example, ICT. For 3 years consecutive, we are running on 0 budget. And I can't complain much. Why? Because there is an existing data that shows for every kid, for every maybe 200 kids, there is 1 teacher. So I don't think that this conversation will have come at a better place, at a better timing for us, because we had an idea of what we want, only that we didn't know how to verbalize it. Now this forum will give us that.
We set out to set up a conversation that was going to be candid, that was going to lift from this abstract level where concepts are nebulous and not concrete to one where we can say, some specific things need to get done. And to a large extent, I believe we managed to get there with this gathering. We had a very high level of engagement, people with fantastic ideas. We had a panel from the county, representatives from the county governments who essentially allowed the other participants to get a better picture what data issues look like in the county.
It's a very good forum because it shows us that we need standards in our reporting and data collection so that whatever information comes from the county can be trusted and people can even quote it in their other documentation.
The truth is, if anybody is interested in any information right now in Muchiri County, and I believe in most other counties, is you are sent to the departments who are custodians of the data, and as someone was saying, we're not very sure about the integrity of that data. And what we've done in our department over the last few months, we've actually made contact with KNBS, and we are contracting them we're trying to do a survey, a sample survey on the well-being of the county since 2013 when the county governments came to be. And we want to know the progress that we've made. We do collect a lot of information. And I will tell you that even when we are doing like survey, for example, in the urban areas and particularly in your households, people who are seated in this room, you are the most difficult respondents. So if we are all interested in quality data, when our research assistants come to your household, please provide them with the data. When you go to the rural households, you will get a response rate of 96-97%. But in your households,
When I get an 80%, I'll try that.
This particular terrain is a very important terrain. It will be one of the most important terrains over the next 15 years as we move into the post-2015 development agenda. And being there, mobilizing our constituencies of researchers and universities is very, very important in that process.
What we have done is that because data of older people has not been collected consistently, we have been training our older people to collect data on how they are accessing the services. For instance, we have developed tools like age health friendly services where older people can be able to go to a clinic. They collect information related on how they are attended to, how long have they taken on the line, were they examined, were they given like drugs, were they available, and all this data is then analyzed and used now to lobby the various policy makers.
I think the link between the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and data is quite close. The Sustainable Development Goals set for us the targets that we need to achieve and the time frame. Data is our means of implementation. If you look at some of the other means of implementation, technology, financing for development, you find that you need data to tell first where to target your resources. Being able to measure progress on implementation of technology mechanisms or actual technology platforms, it requires you to have the data. So the data, the technology, the financing, they're so intricately entwined. Once you take one out of the equation, the other becomes a difficult conversation to have.
So innovators like those we house at the IHAB, for instance, what role do you see them playing in your various sectors?
What are the capacity deficits that we have, and how can we address them?
How do we get some level of data coherence across Kenya?
I think data is going to be extremely important to SDG success. I mean, the SDGs have a very ambitious number of targets that need to be made. And in order to reach them, we're going to need data in order to inform policy making and implementation, but also to measure against them. So data will be crucial.
We have to invest in training across the board. More training, develop more modules, more research, involvement with universities and higher education institutions. We need diploma courses, certificate courses, degree courses in data analytics, data analysis, in development data. I am hesitant to say it's either the agricultural sector or the peace and security. If you were to really ask me in terms of the ones with the greatest amount of deficits, maybe I would say let's prioritize the ones with the deficits so that we can bring them up to scratch with the other ones. Honest thoughts, because we are the co-conveners and co-organizers, I think it's been an outstanding event.